This is the X-Zone Broadcast Network, broadcasting worldwide on broadcast affiliates and satellite program providers, including CNN Broadcast Network, Sirius Satellite Network, Star Media, Good News Radio Network, Angel Broadcast Network, Wiki Broadcast Network, and WPBN TV. For more information on the X-Zone Broadcast Network, visit us at www.xzbn.net.
Did you know that when you're on the road with limited data or Wi-Fi, you can still listen to the X-Zone Radio Show with Rob McConnell, The Science of Magic with Gwilda Wiyaka, X-1, Dimension X, Space Patrol, and every minute of the X-Zone Broadcast Network by calling 213-401-0080, courtesy of Audio Now. No smartphone, app, or internet needed. It saves your data plan, and it's free if you have unlimited minutes. Call 213-401-0080 to listen on any phone, anytime, anywhere. Remember, 213-401-0080 for the best of the paranormal, parapsychology, and sci-fi radio programming anywhere, 24/7, 365.
Welcome back to the X-Zone, everyone. My name is Rob McConnell, coming to you live and around the world from our studios in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada, on the Talkstar Radio Network, X-Zone TV, and on shortwave. Our toll-free number is 1-877-528-8255. I was giving out Georgina's toll-free number too long. That's 1-877-528-8255. Email xzone@talkstarradio.com. On MSN Messenger, talkstarradio@hotmail.com. And our websites, www.xzoneradio.com, and to watch and listen to us live Monday through Friday from 10 p.m. Eastern until 2 a.m. Eastern, www.xzonetv.com. My guest this hour is Sherry Schreiner. She is an internet evangelist who runs her own personal radio show on the internet, and apparently it's listened to people in over 162 countries. She owns and operates 20 websites on the internet. She is the author of 2 books, Hidden Codes Revealed, The Coming UFO Invasion, and Aliens on the Internet. She is the granddaughter of Israel's ancient King David and claims several different alien invasions are coming to Earth during a period of time the Bible describes as the Tribulation Period. Her websites cover various topics such as aliens, UFO, government high-tech weapons, chip implantation, the coming Antichrist, joint underground alien and military bases, and the last days. And Sherry, welcome to the X-Zone.
Hi, thank you.
I have to ask you, Sherry, who are the aliens?
Aliens are fallen angels. They're not these extraterrestrials that live billions of miles away. They're just fallen angels.
So if you're writing books on UFOs and aliens on the internet, are you talking about angels?
Talk about angels that were kicked out of heaven with Lucifer during his first rebellion.
Mm-hmm.
Also those who fell during the earlier days. Angels have free will, just as mankind does. They're not held as prisoners in heaven. And they do fall. They fell before the flood and they fell after the flood. People think that the flood wiped out all the giants and fallen angels at that time, but the Bible says in Genesis 6:4 they fell before and after the flood. They just disguised their appearance, and there's different reasons why some are humanoid, giant-looking type creatures, and others are grotesque, ugly-looking creatures as dragons and lizards, and there's like 200 different variations.
Tell me, when did you get your calling?
Probably about 10 or 12 years ago. I've actually just been born with a love for the Lord. And finally just started giving up on religion and going to the Lord direct for the truth in all things. I was just getting so, exasperated with religion.
Mm-hmm.
And just started seeking Him for the truth. And that's when He started opening my eyes and just pulling me out of the box, that box everybody's in that's in religion.
And when did your interest in aliens, UFOs, government, high-tech technology, joint underground alien and military bases, and last-day prophecies come to the surface? Well,
I was going into the New World Order. I was I was with the Patriots. I agreed more along with the Patriots online, conservative America, Patriot America. And the Lord kind of pulled me away from that and started showing me what was really going on behind the scenes, what really controls and pulls the strings of the New World Order. And so 10 years ago, there were maybe one or two alien and UFO-based websites on the Internet, and now you look at them and they're just all over the place.
How many years ago?
About 10, 12 years ago.
My dear, I've been doing this show for 15 years, and there were plenty of UFO and alien websites on the Internet back then.
The only ones I was familiar with was alienresistance.org. You probably know Guy Malone.
Mm-hmm.
And Rick at Star Gods.
Oh, gosh, there were tons. There were tons back then.
Yeah.
All right, stand by. You and I have to take a commercial break. When we come back, I'd like to talk to you about the coming UFO invasion. My name's Rob McConnell. This is the X-Zone. Sherry Schreiner is our special guest, www.sherryschreiner.com. If you'd like to give us a call and speak to Sherry, 1-877-528-8255. Now, that is toll-free throughout the U.S., Canada, Alaska, and Hawaii at 1-877-528-8255. Sherry and I will return on the other side of this commercial break as the X-Zone continues live and around the world from our studios in beautiful Hamilton, Ontario, Canada, on the shores of Lake Ontario, right in the middle of the Great Lakes Triangle, exclusively on Talkstar.
Take a step back in time and discover old Florida cuisine at Marsh Landing Restaurant in Fellsmere. Enjoy delicacies such as frog legs, gator tail, catfish, and swamp cabbage, or enjoy the more traditional cuisine like hand-cut Angus steaks, ribs, and seafood. Join us for breakfast with a southern flair featuring sweet potato pancakes, biscuits and gravy, and much more. Planning a party? Marsh Landing's private dining room can accommodate groups from 8 to 80 people. While you're visiting, enjoy the historic pictures, artifacts, and stories that line the walls. Marsh Landing is truly a unique experience. Marsh Landing Restaurant, 44 North Broadway in historic Fellsmere, or visit marshlandingrestaurant.com. Marsh Landing, old Florida cuisine at its best.
This is Johanna Carroll, host of Dialogue with Divinity on the X-Zone Broadcast Network. While walking along Kaanapali Beach in Maui this past year, I kept discovering all these shells and coral in the shape of hearts. My dialogue with Divinity was very simple. Do you want me to do a retreat to heal people's hearts in Maui next year? And of course, the answer was yes. As a master spiritual teacher, I am offering you a neat retreat called Rise, May 8th through the 12th, 2017, and the chance of a lifetime to rest at a 5-star resort for 5 days and experience a spiritual renewal of your heart and soul. Kaanapali is one of the top 5 beaches in the world. This stunning resort has undergone a $40 million renovation. I walked the entire property, checked out the room choices on your behalf, and I must say it is stunning. Our conference room faces the ocean with sliding glass doors. Maui is known as Mother Maui because it is a soft, gentle, healing energy. In the embrace of Mother Maui, you will feel yourself rising from the limitations of an ordinary life to an extraordinary journey of peace, bliss, and harmony. A greater sense of clarity. Our Rise retreat ignites renewal in the sacred elements of air, water, earth, fire, and wind. There's plenty of free time to enjoy all that Maui has to offer. A small deposit is required now to reserve your space, as this retreat, it will sell out. For more details, please go to johannacarroll.com and register today. Aloha, and I'll see you in mystical Maui.
And welcome back to the X-Zone, everyone. Sherry Schreiner is our special guest. Now, Sherry, you say there's a coming UFO invasion. Can you tell us about that?
There's several UFO invasions. Once you learn the terminology being used, you'll learn how to recognize them in the Bible.
Mm-hmm.
Even with the fourth horseman of the apocalypse, talks about the arrival of the pale horse, Helen Hades following after him, referring to Helen Hades, the Northern Army in Joel 2, the Euphrates, locust in Revelation 9, all of these are terms for aliens.
How do we know that? How do we know that?
Well, what I've been doing for the past about since 2000 is becoming an avid decoder in Bible codes.
Now, excuse me, you said the last 2000?
Since year 2000.
Oh, since year 2000, I see. I'm sorry.
Yeah. And so the Lord's been able to show me different terms being used to describe these alien beings in Hebrew terminology in the Masoretic text of the Hebrews.
Mm-hmm.
And when you just tear down the words, you can take a basic concordance to biblical terms. Locusts. What exactly are locusts? I know some American preachers teach it that's helicopters, but it's wrong. Also other terms being tall boys, lizards, obviously lizards, snakes, the nagus. Just different types refer to the same beings, which we call today aliens.
So, do you read Hebrew?
I've been learning it.
Well, you say that you've been doing the Bible code since the year 2000. So, how can you read the Bible code that is written in Hebrew if you don't read Hebrew?
Well, they translate it into English.
Who does?
The programs do.
Oh, this is a computer program you use.
Right, computer decode, Bible decode program.
Okay, and I always thought when the Bible was talking about locusts, well, they were talking about locusts, the swarms of locusts that are very, very common in that part of the world, and
right. Well, the Book of Revelation is based on a lot of symbology, and so if you break down the symbolism of the terms being used, you're talking about a guy, the Apostle John, some 2,000 years ago, trying to describe things he was seeing in the future so that they could understand it. And so what he could do was describe things the best way he can. We all know the 4 horsemen apocalypse are not literally riding horses. It's just figurative ways to describe what he's seeing.
All right, so when are these UFO invasions coming? And where are they coming from?
Well, the first one that most people need to be watching out for, I believe that the rider of the red horse is already riding, being represented by George Bush and his endless war on terror. The next horse to be on the scene is the rider of the black horse.
No, hold on here. Let's go back to my question. My question was when the UFO invasions are going to start.
Okay, I'm getting to there. The rider of the black horse, which is Maitreya, this coming Iranian imam. And so with him, you will start seeing alien invasions on Earth. Almost coinciding with his arrival in Arabia is the unleashing of the locusts from the Euphrates River. And these locusts are going to be his allies.
All right, so when is this UFO invasion going to, when is the first UFO invasion, and where are they coming from?
Well, the first alien invasion is with Maitreya. The first UFO invasion will be with this coming Sananda, this Jesus Christ that's coming to the earth. That will be several months after Maitreya's arrival, depicted usually in the month of September of the year 2009. And so what I've been battling back and forth with is 2008 this year, this biblical year of 2009, or is it literally next year in our 2009? And so after you see this Iranian imam, this Maitreya, come to the world scene, about 4 or 5 months later, you're going to see the first real UFO invasion, which will be with this Sananda. He's going to come to Earth posing as God, these UFOs being his angelic hosts. I think most of your listeners have probably heard about the Project Blue Beam, the Blue Beam Project. Mm-hmm. All that will come into play with Sananda's arrival.
Where are these UFOs coming from?
Well, the fallen angels, these demonic and alien beings, they have modes of transportation. They live on our star systems. They live on our moons. They live on our planets. All of them are hollow. You can look up in the sky and see their bright starships at night. They usually come out at about 33 degrees above horizon. They mimic stars, but they're actually starships.
Oh, they are. Are they? How big are these starships?
Well, I don't know how big they are, but I mean, they look the size of a star, and they're much closer to Earth, so they have to be pretty huge.
Now, have you ever seen a starship?
Well, I see them every night. You can look outside and look up in the skies and see them.
Have you ever been in one?
No.
Then how do we know they're really starships?
Well, I guess it's one of those things, you believe it or you don't. I mean, they move. They don't just sit there like a star all night. If you watch them, they'll do something crazy. They'll move across the sky, and they'll move back to position, and You'll be there one night and then miss the night, not be there at all, and show up the night after that. Once you think you've located a starship, just watch it, because they do crazy things. They're not relative of stars that are relatively in the same position for a period of time.
Now, when we started the interview, I asked you who the aliens were, and you said that they were fallen angels. And then I asked you if the aliens were in UFOs, and you said no, they're fallen angels. And then you tell me a few minutes ago that the fallen angels come in UFOs.
I almost missed your question. Are they in UFOs? Yes. I mean, you've got to understand, we've got these demonic beings, these alien beings who use UFOs for transportation, who also taught the same technology to the Germans, the United States, the Russians, the Chinese. We've got everybody flying UFOs now. The United States has their own fleet piloted by NSA pilots. And so when people look up in the skies, you don't always know if you're seeing a military UFO or a real terrestrial being UFO.
And you know this how?
Just years of research. And, you know, you can read the works of William Cooper, you can read Phil Snyder.
Billy Cooper?
I've been breaking down Bible codes for almost 8 years now. I've written many articles on my websites.
But hold on here.
Let's being of the truth.
Let's go back a second. Billy Cooper.
William Cooper.
Yeah. The alleged UFO expert?
He was a naval intelligence officer.
That doesn't mean he was an expert.
Yeah, well, it's one of those things, Rob. You either believe it or you don't. I mean, some people need a UFO to land on their head before they'll believe they exist.
But where do you get your belief from? This is what I'm having a problem with.
I get my belief from what the Lord teaches me and what He reveals to me. Now, people can say, well, George Bush hears from the Lord too, but let me tell you something. The Lord doesn't speak to your head. If you're hearing voices in your head, you're hearing from the elf god, which is military technology. Satan's realm, demons talk to your head, Satan talks to your head, aliens channel information to your head. The Lord doesn't speak to your head. The Lord speaks to your heart, and He will lead His people.
Now tell me about your ministry.
My ministry is reaching out almost to every area in the world now, islands, countries I've never even heard of. I've been doing this now for a while. The Lord has just led me to be a mouthpiece on earth for Him. Satan is coming to earth within a matter of time. People don't have a lot of time. We've got the telltale famine. When my tray arrives, there's going to be a coming global famine. He's just been using me to sound the alarms on many things that are coming to earth.
Now, before you entered the ministry and started your own evangelistic crusades, what were you doing?
I was in school. I was in college. I was attending Kent State. I graduated from Kent State University. Mm-hmm. Before that, I was at Liberty University. I was planning on having a career in journalism and broadcasting. And the Lord just had different plans for me.
Do you see a lot of people getting converted to your way of thinking?
You know what? I don't. It's not something I'm not one of these people that you have to believe what I believe. Mm-hmm. I simply say what the Lord has me to say. If they believe it, fine. If they don't, fine. I have more enemies than people that agree with me, and that's fine. I'm not here for the majority. You know, there's a minority on the world that are the real Lord's people, and that's who I'm here to wake up.
Why would you have enemies?
I have tons of enemies. I've had very many death threats. I'm targeted all the time by the government, which is why I've learned how to combat high-tech weapons. You know, I get targeted all the time. They want me to shut up. They don't want me to expose what they're doing, expose what their plans are doing.
Well, what are their plans?
Well, you know, I've got 20 websites exposing their plans. So,
well, can't you just summarize one or two of them for us?
Oh, they're basic plans in various two different factions. You're dealing with the New World Order faction. You're dealing with the alien agenda, which is the New Age agenda. Mm-hmm. Both agendas seeking to conquer and control the earth so that ultimately Satan can control it and control the earth through his Antichrist and false prophet. But you've got different factions fighting to be the ones to establish it on earth. You've got Al Gore and Ron Paul dealing with the alien agenda, and then you've got George Bush and the New World Order crowd dealing with that agenda. So it's a battle between those two agendas alone. I just sit back and expose them both.
You expose them, but do you make any difference?
It doesn't really, you know, I can't stop it, but what I can do is prepare the people on earth for what's coming, and that's what I'm here to do. You know, we can put a big dent in their plans. We've already seen it. We're already causing some of the UFOs to crash out of the sky, and eventually a lot of them are going to be doing it. We can put a hamper in Satan's kingdom.
So tell me, how do you get a UFO to crash?
Well, apparently UFOs are flown on some kind of technology. I don't know it works, but orgone is a simple energy-emitting device.
Uh-huh.
And by running into this orgone, it conflicts with their systems to run UFOs, that run and operate UFOs, and they just crash.
All right, stand by. You and I have to take a commercial break. We'll be back after the news. Sherry Schreiner's our special guest. We're talking about UFOs, gods, being a televangelist, how fallen angels are aliens who fly flying saucers, and when we come back, she's going to tell us how they get UFOs to crash, because the government has a fleet of UFOs, the bad guys have a fleet of UFOs, and the NSA flies UFOs, and if you look up into the sky at night, you can see the motherships. My name's Rob McConnell, and I will be back after I get a shot of after the commercial break with the news as the X-Zone continues. Where? Right here, live and around the world on the Talkstar Radio Network, X-Zone TV, and on shortwave. Don't go away. I'm not. I want to hear how this interview goes. Bye-bye.
This is the X-Zone Broadcast Network, broadcasting worldwide on broadcast affiliates and satellite program providers, including CNN Broadcast Network, Sirius Satellite Network, Star Media, Good News Radio Network, Angel Broadcast Network, Wiki Broadcast Network, and WPBN TV. For more information on the X-Zone Broadcast Network, visit us at www.xzbn.net.
Did you know that when you're on the road with limited data or Wi-Fi, you can still listen to the X-Zone Radio Show with Rob McConnell, The Science of Magic with Gwilda Wiyaka, X-1, Dimension X, Space Patrol, and every minute of the X-Zone Broadcast Network by calling 213-401-0080, courtesy of Audio Now. No smartphone, app, or internet needed. It saves your data plan, and it's free if you have unlimited minutes. Call 213-401-0080 to listen on any phone, anytime, anywhere. Remember, 213-401-0080 for the best of the paranormal, parapsychology, and sci-fi radio programming anywhere, 24/7, 365.
Sherry Schreiner is our guest this hour, www.sherryschreiner.com. Sherry, before we went to the break, you were telling us about being able to bring down UFOs, and how do you do this?
Chemtrails, saturating my chemtrails area with chemtrails all the time. I put orgone around the perimeter of my area and several miles out all the way around, and I noticed every time the chemtrail planes would come, the chemtrails would dissipate. And so for a while that was going on, still goes on.
Mm-hmm.
But then what I also noticed was when UFOs would come into the area, you would start to see the flashes of light coming out of the sky. Sometimes you would hear large booms. Most of the time you would just see flashes of light. The media would refer to it as meteors crashing to the earth. And so I started looking at that, noticed that for about 2 years until I stumbled on the Bible codes that was literally just UFOs crashing out of the sky.
How many UFOs do you think have crashed in the last 10 years?
Well, I have no idea. I've been doing orgone for 4 years now, and I've probably seen anywhere between 8 and 10 or maybe even 12 in my own area. When I started hearing about it in Tampa, Florida, and out in Washington,
mm-hmm.
these meteors describing exactly what I've seen in my own area, has started becoming more and more noticeable. And the Lord's told me we're just seeing the start of it. It's going to start coming down a lot more.
So you've seen 8 to 10 crashed UFOs in your own area.
Right.
Do you take pictures of them?
No.
Why not?
No. For a while, last year even, just being under constant targeting of the government, I was even homeless for a while, living in a campground. There was a big commotion there. Everybody hearing a large boom, a blue light flashing was on the media all over the state.
Mm-hmm.
And, I've just been in circumstances where I've become so accustomed to being targeted by so many different factions. I don't have a camera, didn't even have a camera at the time, didn't own one. I own one now. I was out in Dulce Base, New Mexico, Los Alamos, New Mexico, and took pictures of those areas out there. But, I'm one of these people, you can believe it or not, I'm going to do what the Lord leads me to do. to set up Satan's welcome party on Earth, and if others want to join me, they can. If they don't, that's fine.
I've got to tell you, you're making some very wild claims, and you don't have any evidence to substantiate anything.
Well, you know what? The Lord's people know who I am. They know, they can tell by their own spirits whether I speak the truth or not. I'm not here for the majority of the world. The Lord's army is 144,000.
That's it?
2 armies of 144,000 that are actually going to do work on the earth for him. The others are going to be going through martial law, stuck in churchdom, stuck in religion, not really getting to know who he is because they believe what religion tells them. I was a Baptist for 30 years. I was like, something's wrong here. When you have to twist doctrines to try to prove doctrines.
Well,
so I just walked away from it all and started asking him to teach the truth in all things to me.
How can you be a Baptist if you're the granddaughter of Israel's ancient King David? Wouldn't you be Jewish?
Well, I'm an Israeli. I'm an Israelite. People get a different view on what Jews were. David had red hair, so that doesn't make him a dark-skinned Arabian-looking Jew. The Jews in Israel today are fake Jews. They're Khazars.
No, that's not a nice thing to say.
Well, it's the truth, Rob.
Where do you get your information? Have you, you told me that you went to journalism to become a journalist or a broadcaster, and you know that you've got to get facts. You've got to do your research. And where's your research on all this?
Well, you can do my website. Go online and put in Khazars. Khazars Jews. Not just on my website, it's on the internet. This is radio. We're sitting here dealing in audio, not written text facts.
No, but we're dealing in facts. We're not dealing in supposition.
Read Your Heart's Content, serpentseedline.com. I got a whole website on fake Jews.
Well, you're making a lot of claims, and like I said, you said there were 8 to 10 crashed UFOs, and you don't have any proof of that. You're saying
well,
that...
do you believe Abraham Lincoln existed? Do you see him with your own eyes? You take history books for value. And how much do we know of our history is correct?
Oh, I know a lot of history is incorrect. However...
But you either believe it or you don't. And you can research it on your own, or you can take it at face value of what you're hearing. I like to research things. I pray about things. I've been studying things for years. I was at a time in my life 20 years ago when I was reading 5 books a week just trying to learn what's going on.
Tell me, why do you hate the government?
I don't hate government. I hate corruption.
So are you saying the government's corrupt?
It's totally corrupt.
So you hate the government?
The corruption in the government, the people running the government, the New World Order agenda. That's not, an agenda is not looking out for people. When you have people that swear oaths to secret societies, their loyalty is to that secret society, not the Constitution of a country they're supposed to be protecting.
How do you know these secret societies exist?
Well, they've been around for thousands of years. It's not something new that's happened, just in America. They're in every country. Ever since Satan caused the fall of man in the Garden of Eden, it's been a conspiracy to destroy mankind. Now you have Satan's seed and the Lord's seed here on earth. And Satan's seed hides within secret societies.
What do you talk about on your church broadcast, and how often is it?
Oh, it's not a church broadcast. I broadcast every Monday night, 10 o'clock. And what I do is...
Batman, I'm having a hard time hearing the guest. Can you please fix that? I'm sorry, we're having difficulties with our audio. Sherry, can you repeat your answer?
Yes. I broadcast every Monday night at 10 p.m. Eastern Time. Mm-hmm. And I talk about Bible and daily events, coming events, whatever the Lord has me speak on.
Now, do you speak to the Lord?
Do I speak of what?
Do you speak to the Lord?
Oh, every day.
What does he feel about the situation of the planet? And if these aliens are bad, and if there are going to be negative things happening on this earth, why doesn't he just step in and stop it?
Well, mankind has free will. Mankind has free choice. These things have been prophesied about.
That seems to be a biblical out. Whenever you talk to somebody about why there's never the intervention to either cure the sick, feed the hungry, stop wars, it's always this little clause, escape clause. That's because man has its own free will. Nobody can ever give me a direct answer on why, if this supreme deity is really there, why he doesn't correct the mess that he made.
Well, he is, but he gives mankind his own time. And if you have the answer, let's hear it.
It's very simple. I'm a dad. And if I would never see any of my children go sick, go hungry, get into problems. I don't even let strangers that I run into go hungry, be sick, go homeless.
But if and yet,
hold on here. Hey, this is my show, not your internet show.
Okay.
We're talking about a deity who is supposed to be so magnificent, so all-inspiring, so all-encompassing. And if we are made in his image, then he should come and correct the problems that he created. Because maybe a free will was the worst mistake he ever made.
Well, it wasn't his intention, if I can butt in, for it to be this way. This wasn't the whole reason he created Adam and Eve for himself. It was Eve and Adam and Eve that sinned at the garden that caused creation to go a totally different direction than the original purpose he created it for.
Why is it a sin to have knowledge?
It's not a sin to have knowledge.
Well, what was the sin that Adam and Eve did?
Well, their sin was about, and if I've got it detailed at serpentseedline.com about her sexual union with Lucifer. It had nothing to do with an apple in the Garden of Eden.
That's your interpretation.
Well, yes. That's if you read the terminology being used in Genesis, that is the interpretation. Break down the words in a Bible lexicon.
Now, where does it say in the Bible that Eve had sex with Lucifer?
If you look in the terminology being used, it's all mapped out on the website. Enoch talks about it, one of the greatest prophets in biblical history, never died, walked with God. A man who walked with God was taken to heaven in a chariot.
Uh-huh.
The church has suppressed it all these years. Who controls the seminaries? Satan, Satanists, Luciferians. There's been a lot of lost knowledge. That's why people stand up, and when they do, they're ridiculed and mocked, just like I constantly am on radio interviews.
Well, it's because you make no sense.
Just because something's true doesn't mean, sometimes it takes a while to assimilate the knowledge, to get used to hearing.
It's true.
You've been lied to your entire life.
It's true to you because you believe it. But that doesn't, in your mind, it's true.
In my mind, it's because I pray and ask daily for the Lord to reveal the truth in all things to me, because I don't want to hold on to errors. I don't want to hold on to false beliefs and doctrines.
But there are millions of people around the world who also pray daily.
And they can ask for the truth in all things. It's a very specific prayer, Rob, to ask the Lord to reveal the truth in all things to you, because when you do that, you allow him to get rid of all the errors you're holding on to.
How come these other people who pray to the Lord don't have the same outlook that you have?
Well, that's just why I teach on my show every single week. I hammer it, every week to pray for the truth in all things, to get back to the Lord himself. They're tied up with religion, and what I teach is relationship, building a relationship with the Lord and not being stuck in religion. Religion is what man defines God as.
Here's a question for you. It's a biblical question. Maybe you can help me out with this one. Doesn't the Bible say that in the end times there will be a false prophet?
Yes.
Maybe you're that false prophet.
Well, it also details and describes what this false prophet is, Rob. This false prophet implements an economic program on the earth, a global economic program.
Mm-hmm. Now, you're saying that the government is corrupt. You're saying that the aliens are really fallen angels. You're saying that there are starships in the sky. You're saying that the planets are hollow. This kind of falls into the category, in my humble opinion, of a false prophet.
Well, that's your opinion. That's fine. You can believe what you want to believe, but the Bible's very detailed on what the false prophet is, or a false prophet says something that's not true, doesn't come to pass. If you research anything that I talk about for 10 minutes, you would be overwhelmed with information that you could start learning from. I mean, you're holding on to a particular view. You hate God. You're mad at God. You're mad at the world. He doesn't exist. And until you break the walls down around you, you're never going to see God.
You know what? I don't hate God. I've never said he doesn't exist. So where are you getting your information from, young lady?
Well, it's just basically just what you've been saying the last 10 minutes. Well, if I created the earth, I wouldn't be allowing people to suffer. Nobody wants to see people suffer.
Then why do they?
That's, it was the man's fault. It's, who's the God of this world right now? It's Satan. And the funny thing is when he comes to earth as God, people are going to believe him and worship him in the majorities. This
What
one
happens?
being that has caused all the suffering and war, death, destruction, torment on earth, when he comes and plays God on the earth, people are going to be following him.
You know what? I don't think that you're right at all. I think that you have some very unique outlooks on life. I think that for some reason, you've got a negative spin to you. And the negativity is not welcomed on this show. So, Batman, shut the line. Enough is enough. You know, like, she hates the government. She has her own little world that she spins in. There are negative aliens who are really fallen angels. What planet was she from again? The wheel's going round, but the hamster's dead. I'll be back on the other side of this commercial break as the X Zone continues right here on the Talkstar Radio Network. In the next hour, we'll be speaking to Robert Morningstar about, is there a UFO-UN connection? 1-877-528-8255 is toll free. And we're just going to mull over what happened in the last 45 minutes, and I'll be back with my good buddy Batman, who is going to be taking a couple of aspirins on this commercial break. 1-877-528-8255 is toll free. My name is Rob McConnell, and this is the X Zone, a place where people dare to believe and dare to be heard. But there's a line that you have to make sure you don't cross, and our last guest crossed that line, and you know what? Bye-bye. I'll be back on the other side as we continue right here on the Talkstar Radio Network.
Negative K, nothing further, just
In over 36 years in law enforcement, I've learned a few things. The most important is the proper gathering and preservation of evidence is vital to putting the bad guy behind bars. It's no different in the world of paranormal investigation. Whether it's the search for the afterlife, cryptozoology, extraterrestrials, and UFOs, how we gather that evidence of their existence, preserve that same evidence, and present it to a court of our peers will make the ultimate difference in proving the existence of worlds and entities that are beyond our imagination. Come with me on a journey that seeks to prove with undisputable evidence what man has struggled to believe for centuries. Join me, Larry Lawson, host of the Paranormal Stakeout, coming to the X Zone Broadcast Network. Check out the broadcast schedule for Paranormal Stakeout with yours truly, Larry Lawson, at www.xzbn.net. For more information about me, my travels, and my team, check out our website at www.paranormalfbi.com or join us on Facebook at Florida Bureau of Paranormal.
I am Dr. Carl O'Helvey, founder, president of a new cancer foundation focusing on evidence-based physical, mental, and spiritual interventions, including natural cancer cures, prayer, meditation, affirmations, nutrition, and other related holistic cancer prevention and cure modalities. These are used in cancer education, research, and financing care. I ask for your help to continue this important work by donating at www.holisticcancerfoundation.com.
You're listening to the X Zone Broadcast Network, www.xzbn.net.
Another one bites the dust here on the X Zone, and another one gets DNR written across their file. Hey, Batman, how's your head, buddy? You okay? There you go. See, a little bit of that brown liquid does wonders, doesn't it? 10W30, that is. You know, I received an email from one of our listeners saying, where do you get your patience from? It's very simple. It comes with the job, comes with the territory, comes with the years, and it comes with being a dad. That's where you get patience from. I don't agree with her philosophy. I don't agree with the way she thinks. I don't agree that government is corrupt. I think to put that into a broad band it's just totally illogical. You know, not everything in this world is a conspiracy. She's, with 8 to 10 crashed UFOs because of what she's doing, and there's no pictures. Bet you Stanton Friedman would have sent her a camera. I just don't understand people like that. Like I said, the wheel is turning around, but the hamster's dead. Let's see, according to the American Academy of Sleep Medicine, because we're going to be changing our clocks this coming weekend, they've offered tips to cope with the effect of setting our clocks ahead for 1 hour. They suggest the following. Several days before the time change, adjust your sleep schedule by going to bed an hour earlier. Several days before the time change, have dinner 1 hour earlier. On Sunday, be extra careful when driving or operating heavy machinery. No matter how tired you are on Sunday, do not take a nap. On Monday, try to keep a light schedule, driving as little as possible, and avoiding strenuous physical activity. In the days before and immediately after the time change, do eat properly, stay hydrated, and exercise. Now, ladies, how do you know he's a man of your dreams? Well, here's a few tips from Lisa Lombardi from MSN.com. The first date signs he's a keeper. All right, you ready for this? He's kind to wait staff, taxi drivers, and the doorman. Number 2, he would pass for Jon Stewart. This means instead of blathering on about himself, he asks smart questions that don't often come off as probing. And if, like a certain late-night host, he happens to be cute, smart, and quick with a self-depreciating one-liner, marry the guy. But I'm already married, darn it, guys. Sorry about that. I'll try and find a suitable substitute. Batman's available. Give him a call at 1-877-528-8255. His cell phone is off unless he's an on-call surgeon or volunteer fireman. That Nokia should be nowhere in sight. Number 4, he mentions his mom in passing. In passing is the operative phrase here. Why? Well, you want to know he has a strong relationship with the woman who gave him life. If he gets along with her, he's more likely to respect women in general, but isn't scary close to mom. You know, the kind of guy who has to call their mom every 5 minutes? Those are just some of the ways that you can tell that you've met Mr. Right, and take the plunge. Marry the guy. When we come back from the news at the top of the hour at 6.5 minutes past, Robert Morningstar will be joining us. We're going to be talking about, is there a UFO-UN connection? Lines will be open at 1-877-528-8255. That's toll-free throughout the U.S., Canada, Alaska, and Hawaii at 1-877-528-8255. My name's Rob McConnell. This is the X-Zone on the Talkstar Radio from our studios in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. Don't go away.